Thank you for tuning into our seller interview series. Up today, we've got an advertising, affiliate, subscription, and digital product business for sale in the WordPress themes niche. Created in October 2008, this business makes $6,660 per month in net profit, and the listing number for the site is 43754. We do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the sites they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller with us today to go through the business and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. How are you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you. Where are you calling in from today?
I am based out of Montreal, Canada.
Okay, so Eastern time. I'm in Florida, so worked out pretty well for us time-wise. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, and before we dive into the questions that I have for you, I want to run through a quick summary of the business.
Sure.
Again, it was built in October of 2008. Has a monthly revenue of $6,991, expenses of $331 to make for a net profit of $6,660, which is built on a 12-month average.
Yep.
Included in the sale of this business are the domain, hosting, theme files, Twitter account, YouTube account, email list with over 13,000 subscribers, and original design files.
Correct.
Chris, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Sure. I guess everything started for me a few years ago when I had actually opened a storefront in Vancouver. It was a video store. I had one in Vancouver and one in Edmonton, and I decided to have like an online component to the shop. And I actually got a lot more interested in running the online component than I did in actually running the physical businesses. And I ended up selling them to some friends and continued learning more about website design, development, and totally changed career paths and started becoming a web developer. And back in around 2006, 2007, I worked with Wordpress, some of the first releases of Wordpress, and I was really attracted to it as a content management system for developing more complex websites. And so I started building my own websites in it, and then I got hired out to build sites for other people. And I started using kind of like similar frameworks when I was always building these sites. And so I decided to build like a default theme that I would start using, and I offered it for free to the community. And after a while, it was downloaded almost 100,000 times. And so I tried to figure out a way to monetize it and created a premium version of the same theme that had extra features, options that weren't available in the basic one. And suddenly I had an online business selling WordPress themes.
So we mentioned many components to the business. You know, I said it was an advertising, affiliate, subscription, and digital product business. We've covered the digital product business. Can you talk a little bit about the advertising, affiliate, and subscription side of it?
Sure. Over the years, I created more themes to put online for sale. And I also have like a blog where I would write about how to use the themes in the best way possible. And I wrote tutorials on how to even create your own themes and use WordPress in different ways. And so that tutorial site brought a lot of business to the theme sales, but also started getting a lot of traction for hits. And so therefore people started wanting to advertise on it. And so through the main site, the blog, I have ad space available. And I also have within some of the articles links to different sites that like hosting providers and stuff like that provide affiliate payouts when people sign up. So the blog really drives traffic to the sales site, but it also helps to sell ad space and direct people to different affiliates that I use.
When designing the WordPress themes that you sell, did you design them or did you have a contractor that you use?
Many of the themes were designed by me, but I have hired out people in the past and worked with them to design certain ones. So out of the 16 I have, I think probably 5 or 6 were designed by other people.
If a potential owner wants to design new themes, but they aren't, able to do it themselves, would you be able to provide that contact information?
For sure. There's actually a huge community within the WordPress world that would be available, people I've used and even people starting up every day that have the ability to kind of offer those types of designs and know what types of designs also people are interested in.
So it sounds like this is something that you are very interested in, very knowledgeable in at least, and you've grown a business in it. So why are you selling the business?
I've recently made a career change. And so over the past 2 years, I've slowly been pulled away from web development and have kind of like moved into film and television. And so the more demands that film and television are putting on me, the less time I have to work on the site and maintain it. And that's why I feel like before it kind of disappears into nothing, I'd much rather get somebody on board to take it over so that they could keep it going, because it has provided a lot of help within the WordPress community to people who are starting websites or starting new businesses. And through the tutorials on the blog and the themes that I sell, I've really helped a huge amount of people kind of start their own websites, create their own online businesses, and I'd like to keep that going.
You said that you're having less and less time to work on this every single, day as you get more commitments in film and television. So how much work are you doing on the business week to week?
Honestly, not very much. Most of it is just responding to emails, and so a bit of customer service. So I would say over the past few months, I may have only been putting in a couple hours a week.
And that's just maintaining, that's not trying to grow the business at all.
Not at all, no. It's just to maintain it.
So speaking of trying to grow the business, what are some of the big opportunities that you see available for this business?
Well, because of the way I've designed the business to work, I offer every theme I have. There's a free version and then a paid version. And so the free version is available for people to just test it out and also just to use it on their sites if they want to. If they don't require any additional features, then they could stick with the free versions and still build their sites. But since those free versions are free, tons of people download and try them out. And so with all of the free themes I have available, I might say there's maybe 1 million users of those free themes. And so there's a direct line to potential customers that way. And so updating each of those free themes with link backs to the premium versions and updating premium versions with new features and stuff like that, it's always a way to kind of create like a symbiotic relationship. So the free themes start bringing customers over to the paid themes. And so the more themes that come out, of course, the more business opportunities there are, but also just taking advantage of all those users right now could potentially help bring the business back to where it was just a few years ago.
Have you had a good turnover rate with people upgrading from the free to the premium?
I would say right now that is pretty much the business model. And so people do find me through the blog or through Google searches and stuff like that. But most of my customers end up coming from the free themes.
You said that the business could be taken back to where it was a couple of years ago, just a minute ago. And the business was built in 2008. Without diving too much into specific numbers, can you just kind of run through the general path that the business has taken profit-wise in the last 9 years?
Sure. At the beginning, I only had 1 or 2 themes for sale. So the profits were smaller because there were fewer products to sell. But I would say I reached my peak of the number of themes I have selling now, probably in around 2014, 2015. And with, I think it's 15 or 16 themes that I have for sale, the profits surpassed $250,000. And so at that point, that's when I worked on the site every day, and I was active within the community and promoting it and writing articles and updating the themes. And so every day the sales were surprising, to tell you the truth. I still didn't put, say, extreme amounts of time into it, but I was focusing on it. And I think being able to do that once again could potentially bring the business back to around those profit numbers. And they stayed steady for, I would say, 3 years were around that until I stopped paying attention to it. And then as I got pulled away, like I mentioned before, the profits pretty much dropped according to the amount of time I really put back into it. So there's a lot of potential there, in my belief.
And my apologies, I might have misheard the number. Did you say that profits were up to $250,000?
Yes.
You mean over a year?
Over a year, yes.
So, it's making about $6,500 a month. I'm going to just quick math and round up to about $80,000 a year. So what do you think that a new owner needs to do to bring the number back from $80,000 a year to $250,000?
I think if they start to look into putting out new themes, that would immediately bring back attention to the site and bring people back to not just purchasing the new themes, but the old themes. Like new products always kind of like invigorate old products when it comes to these types of digital products. And so I think, I forgot to mention before the subscription model, which is it's a yearly subscription now for $99, which gives you access to all the themes. And the more themes, the more products you offer within that $99 subscription, more people are willing to just take that as opposed to just purchasing a one-off theme license. They'll just take advantage of the $99 and buy a license for every theme. And that repeats every year. And that comes with support and stuff like that. And I find like within that model, there's a lot of potential if you kind of keep the products coming so that people feel that they're getting something for their money.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Are you currently putting out written content?
I just happened to write something today, but that was the first time I blogged on my site in 6 or 7 months.
And the reason for that is just lack of time.
Pretty much. Sitting down and writing the tutorials or the articles, I haven't had time to focus on it. Today, I updated one of my themes because of a new feature that became available in WordPress. And so I was like, to maximize putting out an update, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew about it. So I tweeted about it. I wrote an article. I updated it onto Facebook. And so I wanted to make sure that as I'm updating these themes, that people are really aware of it. And that's what I've done in the past. I just haven't done that in a long time.
So adding more consistent content is definitely another opportunity for a new owner.
Yep.
But let's get to the social media and the email list. So the email list of over 13,000 subscribers, I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, that was generated when someone signs up to use the theme. Does it have to be the paid one or the free one that their email gets added?
I only gather emails based off of the paid customers. The free versions of the themes are all hosted on wordpress.org in the theme repository. And that is pretty much the place that WordPress users go to download free themes. So I wanted to make sure that all of my themes were included in there because it's just, they take care of all the hosting and all that stuff, but it's exactly the place that you want to be advertising those types of themes for WordPress users. They all go there. In the administrative panel of WordPress, when they search for a theme, it links to the WordPress theme repository. So my themes are in there. So if people are searching in the WordPress admin for a theme, my themes come up.
And then people get linked back to your site and your premium themes?
Exactly. And so I totally forgot what the question was before I started rambling in this direction.
It was about how the email list was generated.
Right. And so when the people then come to my site to purchase, I sign them up to my newsletter. And that's another thing I used to be a lot more active with. I had a mailing list through MailChimp that I used to put out bi-monthly newsletters. And I found every time I actually did that, it increased my sales quite a bit. So taking advantage of that email list is a very, very smart way to bring more traffic to the site.
Now, talking about the Twitter, the Facebook, and then the YouTube, what exactly are you doing on all those, especially the YouTube I'm curious about?
So on YouTube, I used to create preview videos for every theme I was coming out with to like let people know this is what I've been working on and here were some of the features. And then as soon as the themes were released, I kind of created like a guideline like of how to use them. So I only did that for a few and I don't have that many videos up there, but the videos did bring a lot of interest back to the site. So people obviously who had purchased the theme went there to learn how to use them, but people who were using the free themes also went there to see what premium options were available. And so actually being able to see the themes being used and how to easily add colors or fonts and stuff like that, which were options that are only available in the premium versions, I think enticed a lot of the free users to become paid users.
So you would recommend a new owner to make how-to videos and demo videos for all of the themes?
Oh, for sure.
And how often do you update the Twitter and Facebook, and how are those accounts follower-wise?
The Twitter account, I think, has about 2,500 followers, and I rarely update it. I usually just use it when I put out new versions of the themes to let people know that there's a new version available. And when I do write articles or put up videos, that's usually where I announce it. Facebook is actually a personal page, so it has nothing to do with the business. I just have a lot of friends who also work in WordPress, so when I post some of my articles or stuff I'm doing on Facebook, it's mostly just to talk to them, but it's not a business page.
Okay, just clarifying, that would not be included because it's your personal
Yeah,
page.
it's my personal Facebook page. I did create a Facebook page at one point, but this was years and years ago, back when it was a Facebook group, I think. But that was something that I just never spent the time to maintain, so I just turned it off.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are there any big risks associated with the business that you feel a potential buyer should be aware of?
Well, there's a lot of people out there who work in WordPress, so it is possible that, like there's a large amount of theme developers out there trying to do the same thing. But I've often found by going to these different WordPress conventions and stuff like that, even though there's a large amount of people doing it, there's still a large amount of people who want this stuff, and they all travel to different websites to get it. So even though there are many, many businesses doing this same thing, there are many, many customers who find different ways and have interests in different types of themes. So I find there's just a lot of potential, even though it seems that sometimes there's like many people developing WordPress themes. Like if you go to the theme repository right now, you could see all the free themes that are available. But I find there's a lack of quality in a lot of those themes, and even a lack of personal connection with customers, which I think is very important. So I think, there's always chancy in an industry where there's, I think it's 27 million websites use WordPress online. So it's like 25% of the internet is run by WordPress. So a lot of people see potential to make money off of that. So a lot of people are making money off of that. But I think the market is large enough that even a smaller kind of like premium theme shop can do quite well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just thinking about this right now. If there are 27 million users and you get even, 100,000 of them, not even 1% of the user base to sign up for your premium subscription model, $99, you have $1 million a year business right there.
There's the potential for that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have multiple friends, even in Montreal, who do the same thing that I do, and we all make a good living. So even if there's 5 people in Montreal doing the same thing, we're all successful at it. It means that there's a lot of possibilities in the industry to make profit.
And as long as your themes are different enough from other people's, you have special features and things, it's enough to stand out.
Exactly.
Well, we're pushing up to our time here, but I have a few questions about potential deal structure with a buyer. Would you commit to a non-compete?
For sure.
And how much support are you willing to offer buyers?
I'm willing to help out. I'd like to make sure that the business is able to continue and to grow to exactly what it was before. And I'd want to make sure that the people who take the business on have everything at their disposal to make sure that they can succeed.
So would that include emails and Skype calls?
Yes, for sure.
And, obviously, the best case scenario is that someone comes along and gives 100% cash offer of what we're looking for the website. But if that didn't happen, would you be open to negotiations about other, payment methods like, an earn-out or something like that?
I'm open to negotiations, yes.
Well, I have one final question for you, Chris, and thank you again for taking the time.
Sure.
Before we get to that, though, I'm going to run through the quick summary of the business again.
Okay.
It was built in October of 2008, has monthly revenue of $6,991, expenses of $331 to make for a net profit of $6,660, which is built on a 12-month average.
Mm-hmm.
Included in the sale of this business are the domain, hosting, theme files, Twitter account, YouTube account, email list with over 13,000 subscribers, and original design files. Chris, before I let you go here, what is your best 30-second pitch on why someone should purchase this business?
Ooh, 30-second pitch. Okay, well, the business has been online for almost a decade now, and that's very important for finding it through Google. So it does get a high result in Google searches. And I think because 27 million people use WordPress, there's a lot of potential to take this business and bring it to a higher profit margin by adding more themes and taking advantage of the free users and trying to transition them over into paid subscribers. So there's a lot of possibilities with this business.
It certainly sounds like if someone were to come along with more time and the background to be able to do this, they can grow it back to where it once was. Because, it was making $250,000 a few years ago.
Yeah, and even with people who are not too savvy in regards to WordPress, there's a huge community out there of people that can be hired freelance or stuff like that to help out as well. Because even I've done that in the past.
So you don't feel like someone needs to be proficient in WordPress themselves because the help and resources are there.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for taking the time here. It certainly sounds like a business with a lot of potential, and I wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, and if you want more information, the link will be below the video that will take you to this marketplace listing. If you're watching this on the listing site and want more information, become a depositor today. All you have to do is click the button, Make a Refundable Deposit, and you'll be given everything you need to review this business. Have a great day.